Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the interactive Lightbulb tutorial. In this section, we're diving deeper by adding interactivity to our UI using variables. We'll explore how to make the lightbulb respond to sliders, adjusting its color and rotation, all with simple variable controls. Let's get started and bring some dynamic action to our scene. So, what is a variable? A variable lets you create reusable values that you can modify later using events, which can then be applied to different properties like position, scale, or even materials. To access it, go to your scene properties, and at the bottom, you'll see the variable and data section. You'll find 6 different types of variables, but today we'll focus on the number variable. When you click on number, a new variable appears. You can rename it to anything you like. Let's give this variable a default value, for instance, 50. Now, how can you use this variable? Let's create a sphere to demonstrate. If you look at its position settings, you'll see a plus icon next to each slot. By clicking on this, you can select the variable we created, and the position of the sphere will update. Now, if we go back to the variable settings and change the default value, you'll see the sphere's position adjust accordingly. This number can be applied to any other property of any object you want. Let's create a second variable. Name this one opacity for clarity. Then go to the sphere, add a new layer, and set its color to blue. In the opacity section, click the plus icon and choose the new variable we just created. You'll notice the object disappears because the default opacity value is 0. Now let's see how we can control our variable. Let's create an event that changes this opacity. Choose a mouse down event, and in the Action tab, select Set Variable. Here, choose the opacity variable, and in the expression, set it to increase by 20 units each time it's clicked. Now if we go to play mode, each time we click the object, the opacity will increase by 20 units, eventually reaching full opacity after 5 clicks. This is a basic introduction to how variables work. There's a great tutorial on Spline's YouTube page that goes deeper into this topic, and I'll link it in the description for you to check out. Make sure to watch it as it provides a solid foundation on how to use variables in different scenarios. Back to our project. We're going to add some interactivity to our scene. First, let's organize our UI elements by creating a group. We'll also rename our handles to correspond with their functions for better clarity. Next, we're going to set up a variable for our color. Go to the Variables section, add a number variable, and name it Opacity. Then, select the material for the light bulb, turn on the blue color and Fresnel, and in the Opacity section, click the plus icon to link it to our opacity variable. Now, if we go back to the Variables section and adjust this variable, the color shifts from warm to cool tones. However, our background doesn't yet match this variable. So let's duplicate the color layer, set the new layer to blue, and link its opacity to the same variable. Now, changing the opacity value affects both the light bulb and the background. Next, we'll create a variable for rotation. Add a new number variable and name it rotation. Go to the light bulb group's rotation settings, and for the z-axis rotation, click the plus icon and choose the rotation variable. Now, when you adjust this variable, the light bulb rotates. Finally, let's add control for this rotation via the UI. Select the circle representing the color handle and create a drag and drop event. Set the plane to the x-axis so the circle only moves horizontally, and change it to be relative to object. In the track limit section, set the x minimum to 0 and the maximum to 100, as we want the opacity to range from 0 to 100. In the behavior section, add a set variable action. Choose the opacity variable, and in the expression tab, link it to the x position of the handle. Now, as you drag the handle from left to right, the opacity will adjust between 0 and 100. Let's test this in play mode. As you can see, it's working as expected. We'll apply the same process for the rotation handle. Add another drag and drop event. Set it to the x-axis and relative to the object, and set the drag limits. Then choose the rotation variable and link it to the handle's X position. Since the value goes from 0 to 100, we'll multiply it by 3.6 to rotate the light bulb 360 degrees. In play mode, you'll see that dragging the handle fully rotates the light bulb. Now let's create an on-off switch. Select the switch button, create a new state, move it to the left, and add a mouse down event. Choose transition in the actions, select the toggle mode and reduce the time to 0.3. Now when we click the switch, it toggles between on and off. Next, we want to dim the light bulb when we turn it off. Go to the light bulb's material settings, turn on the first two layers, and then create a new state. Go back to the first state and change the opacity to 0, then return to the second state and restore the default opacity. Now, go back to the switch, add another transition, select the light bulb, choose toggle mode, and adjust the time. For the final detail, we'll turn off the point light as well. Select the point light and create a new state for it, setting its intensity to around 0.2. Now, go back to the switch, add another transition, choose the point light, set it to toggle mode, and reduce the timing to 0.3. In play mode, you'll see that the light bulb dims and brightens each time you toggle the switch. The last thing we need to add is a link for the call to action button. Create a mouse down event and set it to open link. Here, you can paste any website link you'd like the button to direct to. Now, when you click the button, it opens the linked website. And that's it. This is how easy it is to create an interactive light bulb or any other object using variables in your project. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you found it helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And feel free to share it with others. Take care.